Hi, my beautiful, powerful, everyday woman. It's me. Oh, your everyday woman and habits coach. And I am just so full of love and desire to serve and pour into you around the four pillars of intelligence for a powerful life. Thank you, ChatGPT, for putting the intelligence piece in there because I was just calling it four pillars for a powerful life. Anyway, I am away at a work conference and I'm in a stunning hotel room by myself for 3 nights and 4 days, and just taking some time to sit in myself. I don't have a laptop, so I take the iMac with me. That's right. And I set up my little office space and I just give myself a little room to breathe. And in this video, I want to walk you through the four core pillars for a powerful life being spiritual, heart, emotional, and body. But I'm going to preface it with a couple of experiences that have just happened to demonstrate the applicability of these pillars in your daily life and in your self coaching, because coaches like myself to you help bring you forward. But then the real beauty is when you start truly integrating that work and becoming your own self-led and discerning coach. And then obviously you can up level always to another coach who takes you further and further, right? It's like you're fine tuning your workout and finding somebody more and more attuned to the level that you're at. So there's been a lot of very beautiful things happening this week for me, but the two that stand out are as follows. And I think I would say they fall under the spiritual and emotional pillar, and then the body and the heart pillar. So, spiritual and emotional is worthiness. And this is a worthiness story that literally just happened. So, at this conference, there's this incredibly badass, awesome woman giving a presentation. She's established a company. She's been at it since about 2018. It's 2025 now. And I know who she is, and I've been following her because I saw her at the onset. I was there at ground zero, if you will. And we arrived to the hotel at the same time. She actually pulled into the checkout parking next to me. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but I left it alone because presenters get talked to and they're popular and everybody wants a piece of them. And you've been traveling, you're kind of getting your head into the conference, gave her some space, but also didn't take up some space myself. And then um, I check in and figure out where to park the car and get to the elevator. She's doing the same. Well, she happens to come to the elevator right as I'm about to go up. So she jumps in with me, hold the elevator, jumps in with me. And I was like, oh, hi, so and so, nice to see you. And she's looking at me like, right, I guess I should know your name, but I can't quite place it. Yeah, it's Mia. We met like, but we'll get into it. We'll chat at the conference because the elevator ride is quite short. And she's like, yeah, yeah, cool, cool. It was a bit of a kerfuffle getting checked in, et cetera. So we go our separate ways. And then it's the next day, and she's about to give her presentation. And of course, I'm like a happy little puppy. I can't wait anymore. So I go up to her and I'm like, hi, it's Mia. We met way back when you gave a training to my workplace. And she looks at me and she says, you held this event in 2018. You were the host at such and such location. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. So she had traced it back. And then she tells me how, because I had invited her to that conference as a vendor, which she couldn't afford, but then a spot canceled, and I called her and I said, can you fill this spot? And she figured it out with work and booked off lunch and came to train at the conference. That was the portal through which her business exploded because it introduced her to a whole new industry and a whole new um, level of service that could be provided to enforcement professionals that weren't receiving that kind of service, right? And it was just so like we both whelped, whoa. I high-fived her, but I really should have just hugged her. But it reignited our space and time and connection. And then I was going to go to a different presentation, being a good girl. And I sat in that other room and I thought, there's no way I can sit here and not be present in the future of the two of us right now. So I booked it back and I sat in the room and I watched her kick ass at the front of the room. Hyper entertaining, so phenomenal, so like evolved in it. And the whole point of that, in terms of being spiritual and emotional, is my worthiness. She's not going to remember me. It's fine. Like, look at her go. But what I received was remembering the facilitation by happenstance, by divinity, by God's timing of wanting to put a woman on stage and facilitating her opportunity to go through a portal. There were other factors at play. I'm not like saying I'm taking credit for all of this, but I'm recognizing the significance of the work that I do and where I show up, even before I really know what I'm doing. Okay. And this is why these core four pillars play out in your life when you're in tune and in touch with them. And it was just like I'm still just throbbing, heart throbbing from it. And then she has this super cool website that I sent to my other fantastic, incredible friend. And my friend's super lit up. And now, the two of them might chat. And of course, I've pictured winking at you, you know who you are. I've pictured the two of them hosting an event together that I'm going to have to go to. So it's just interesting and beautiful when we really pay attention with intention on really this four-dimensional existence that we have, which is spirit, heart, emotion, and body. And I'm going to explain them, and I'm going to read notes that I wrote on the ferry ride over here because I think they're really beautiful. They're also on the homepage at the website, a few different versions with the same message. Okay, so that's tangible case study of that example. The other tangible case study for the body and heart was there was an event last night, dinner and then dancing, social. And I brought clothes, but I've just been tired, I've just post period, I guess, those cycles, whatever. And so my brain's not performing at 100%, which is fine. It doesn't have to all the time. All of that to say, I didn't want to wear the stuff I brought to the dinner. I'm such a girl, right? Like, so shallow, so vanity. And where I am, I don't usually venture out, but I ventured out to Toys R Us and Value Village, which is a thrift store, if you don't live in Canada and don't know that brand. And so I ventured out and I had success at Toys R Us, which was great for my little one. Go to Value Village, and then I'm looking, nothing. It smells bad in there. I don't know if the clothes smell like that. There's definitely no shoes in my wide 10-foot size. Shuffling through, and then I find this dress, $15 Canadian, thrift store. I don't know. It is what it is. It's beautiful. It's like army green. I was going to wear it, but I decided to just stick with my best day ever t-shirt because it's basically my uniform. Anyway, so the dress, and then I'm like, I don't really need more clothes. I always get given so many clothes. You can see the receivership is broken there, right? And the worthiness. I'm not worthy to buy another dress because I already have so much abundance. And I'm like falsely trying to empower myself in that, right? And so I kind of go through the store and then I want to get back as I'm meeting friends and starting to constrict again and coaching myself through it, self-regulating. Now I'm on the other side of the rack of that green dress, which I did try on in the aisle and it fit, but it's sort of like it's like a tight fitting dress. And I'm like, oh, it's going to show everything. It's going to show everything. It's not loose enough. And I'm just not in my like 20-year-old body anymore because I'm 43. And so, like, no, now I'm on the other side of the rack, walking back, and it's like I hear it in my head, buy the dress, Mia, buy the dress. And so I do. I reach over and I pull it off the rack and I take it and I go up and pay. And then I come back to the hotel room and I try it on. And then I'm like, oh, side profile, back profile, all the profiles, front, suck in, suck out. But in the meantime, while that's happening, there's also the element of how much I love my body because a few weeks ago we went for a big family hike and then I backpacked my 6 year old for the last third of it as a treat. And also there was just so much talk about it for the first 2 hours that, she may as well get what, like a thrill before it's all said and done. And my body performed carrying a 50-pound, 6.5-year-old up a steady grade from ocean level to the road for half an hour. And that sure, the dog was pulling me, which helped significantly, but my body performed. It was so strong. It was so sacred. It was so beautiful. It was taking care of my sweet little angel. And then I wasn't sore, I wasn't broken, I wasn't like hurting the next day. And I'm just like, damn, body, you're amazing and I love you. So I'm remembering this as I'm standing and analyzing myself in this hotel room in front of all the mirrors. And then it just came to, I can't hide it. It's the reality. I'm trying to change it, but more than wanting to look good in a vanity sense, I want to feel good in a beautiful woman sense. And so I'm just like, I'm just going to surrender to it. It's fine. All shapes and sizes out there. It's fine. It's a beautiful dress. I feel great in it. I feel great in it. Emotional body, right? At odds with each other and now coming together. And so I put it on, I doll myself up, I go downstairs, I get my dinner from the buffet, and I walk into the dinner room. And I've really been embodying I can sit at any table and I'm fine because I've been in this profession for over 10 years and I know who I am and I know what I'm about in this profession. Plus, a lot of them know me. I walk up to a table where I don't know most of them. And as I'm walking up and there's men at the table, they all like, gawk and look at me and like, wow. And I just felt so glad that I just chose to step into the more possible side rather than the scarcity and constricting side. And that's because it's a practice. It's a practice, daily practice every day, in every moment, in every trigger of attention and intention to what do you want to respond to? Okay. This applies in business, in relationships, in the workplace, with your children, with your parents, with your friends, etc. So that's why we're going to spend a bit of time. And I just wanted to preface it with those two core contexts. One, because there's such beautiful personal testimonies of the work in action. And I'm just still so soaking in the gorgeousness and the lessons and the expansion that came as a result of that. The spiritually, physically, I'm a more changed woman. I'm a more Mia as a result of those things, of recognizing my worth and not downplaying it, of appreciating where I've had impact and maybe been unaware or again downplayed it, and of really embracing what my body is now because of what it does versus what it looks like. And like perfectly honest, I still look great naked. Like, not too shabby at all, and I don't want to fuss over what it's not. I want to love what it is right now. And I can always add, I can always, work out a little bit more and do that. But I don't want that to be a conditional achievement. I want to be really satiated now. Okay. Okay. So let's get into then the core. I love my core four. Sorry, I bumped the mouse. My core four pillars, but the four pillars of intelligence for a powerful life. Live your best day ever, every day. Okay. So the first one, spiritual, and these it's not written super long. And then we expand in them in any of my programs. This fits into startup school. I'm going to share it in other places. But this is the core foundation that holds the programs and the philosophy and the theory of Powerful Inc. Okay, so the first pillar is spiritual intelligence, and I'm just going to read my notes. Okay, I'm not like and whatever else comes out, fine. But I just also want to be transparent because if you are running an online business or an in-person business, I want to show you what it looks like a little bit behind the scenes as it's happening, is to smash perfection and to smash overthinking. Just jump into action. So, spiritual pillar, spiritual intelligence. You are not only made of flesh. In fact, you are more spirit than flesh, and spirit is everlasting. So, how are you nurturing and growing this relationship? Where are you giving your body rest, welcoming peace that surpasses human understanding, and living a life far beyond the limits of earth? Tap into the bigger force and the highest reason for life on earth, the Lord, God. Be used for good and for more than selfish gain. Show up in integrity and morality and see what rewards may be provided as a result. My rewards have been absolutely stunning in my everyday boring dream life. And that is more than enough. I'm not living every day for personal gain. I'm not doing this for personal gain. I'm doing this because it's written in my heart and it's my God-given purpose to empower and lift and actualize women in feeling whole and in feeling competent and confident to deliver their gifts. And it's not to be world famous, it's just who I am. If I never made any money at it, that would be fine too. Okay. It's so much bigger than anything that I get out of it because in that moment with that businesswoman and then introducing her to my other friend, the swirl of like metaphysical energy and life that I saw, that's what it's about, right? What's going to happen? I'll probably get to go on that trip for free, other than travel costs, and it's going to blow my heart wide open, never mind the other women that are going to be there, right? So there's just so many bigger things that happen when you partner with God. And then it's a sort of like you're not responsible for it, but it helps and it's supportive. And then you're just a much more willing servant for your own peaceful state of being, your peaceful spirit, and this like embodied certainty now. It does surpass human understanding because I feel the changes coming through me by Holy Spirit. I see myself acting differently without having to like consciously direct it. That's Holy Spirit moving through me. So spiritual intelligence is really where it all begins. And then from there, I guess we're kind of working our way out. So if this were a diagram, we're deep inside the other side of the physical world in the sacrum and on my belly here, this cosmos of the spirit that then comes into the earthly world and travels up from, I don't know, for me it's through the sacrum, travels up to the heart. So then the next pillar of intelligence is the heart. And so, how do you live a life of love? Like, actually. So for me, I mean, I adore my daughter beyond. Like, just I can't even believe how much I love her, and God feels that way about us tenfold at least. But I still lose my cool with her sometimes. I'm still like a jerk. I still might yell or like get frustrated and she's little, right? I mean, it's not fair, but it's the truth. It's just the truth. So I love her that much, yet still this happens, which is why. How do you live a life of love? How, sort of theoretical, how do you live a life of love? Where do you bring attention and intention to a loving energy in your life, a peaceful, loving energy, right? And what would happen if this became a beacon for us to live by, a very guiding moral compass state of being, um, uh, mm, being set, mindset to prescribe to. A life of love is being peaceful, kind, merciful, honest, smothered in integrity. I love that word combination. And what would change in your life if this leadership and pause before reacting started to become your norm? I freak out less now, and probably my local government compliance and enforcement career has helped me somehow gain more patience with the nonsense of people. But increasing my patience and peacefulness just allows me to stay bigger, you know? I still lose my cool, guys, but it's less. And then it feels so good inside. So what would change if you started to really embody and show up in this heart frame and pause before you reacted and started, revising the neural patterns that are so familiar? And do you wonder how you could even begin to establish such a pillar of love in your powerful life? Well, one simple tool and tip for you, and yet it's often the hardest, most resistant one to adopt, like threading a needle for sewing, which is getting so much harder for me at the young age of 43. I can't see anymore. Okay, the hardest to adopt tool to start stepping into a more loving way of being is to slow down. It's the softening where love lives. And in this soft space, you open up to more peace and can react more thoughtfully versus in a survival mode, knee jerk, immediate, instant type of reaction. Hmm, that's slowing down. That's all it is. It's taken a long time for me to get there. My analogy is pulling on my own leash, but rather than that, I'm training myself to heel, dog analogy, and actually walk in step instead of pulling at the leash. Slow down. Okay. The emotional pillar of intelligence. This is, again, in the theme of instant gratification. But look, when we were born, and even when we were in utero, we were kicking our mom to move, to get her to move, to be stimulated, to indicate we liked or didn't like something. And when we came out, we learned to cry. I don't like the bright light. Wah! I'm too cold. Wah! I'm hungry. Wah! Etc. Okay. This learned behavior is a survival method that has stayed in our, what do they call it? Lizard brain since baby times. And it served us well as babies and, haha, maybe drove our parents crazy at times, as our children, if you have them, might be doing to you at times. But it's been with us since day one and literally, really, since we were stitched together in the womb. So I say this to give yourself grace and understanding when it comes to developing your emotional intelligence, because now you're going all the way back to something completely primal, and made by design on purpose. Okay, but we've also now consciously evolved where we have more authority and sovereignty in choosing how we want to react and how we want to self-regulate. I don't cry for my mom anymore when I'm upset, you know. I don't need the comfort of the breast or etc. Now I can self-soothe, right? I don't need her to change my diaper anymore, right? I've outgrown some things, which is to say to have a little bit of fun, but also to encourage that we can most definitely overcome our long-standing emotional reactions and patterns. But it's going to take work because there's triggers, and those triggers date back to single digit living, say between age 5 to 8, by all the science that indicates we're mostly fully formed as a personality and a perspective of the world before we're even double digits. So your triggers are the where to pay attention, and the emotions react, but then you'll see next. So we went from spirit deep in the stomach up to the heart, now to the emotion, which is sort of connected to the mind, and then it's going to come together in the body. So the emotions are connected to the body, because when you get triggered by like jealousy, inferiority, excitement, your body has a physiological response. And so we want to see how those two react together so that we can gain information. So the next time your spouse, for example, does something that pisses you off, try to notice where you feel it in your body, because then that's where we're going to direct some self-soothing and relax that lizard brain and then allow the emotions to expunge without taking over and the body like, okay, great, survival mode, let's go and chew into this, because the body is very physical. It wants to um, like move, right? It wants to feel, it wants to act. Okay, so you're going to start observing yourself when you trigger, and it takes time and repetition. And you can kind of do placebos, but they're not going to have the same physiological result. But play with a bit of placebo too. Go back into past situations and revisit them and go looking for clues as to why. Why are you reacting to that trigger? Because it's not the trigger, it's you. Okay, whatever's happening in your external environment, it's all about what's happening in your internal environment. Okay, in a safe spaces type of thing. So start looking inward to see what your external circumstances might be meaning about your worth. You're making it mean something about your worth, because it leads generally back to being not enough, right? And so you want to build your enoughness inside by listening to your body's cues and patterns so you can study yourself and start to lift above the status quo. So, how are you going to practice? The next time your blood starts to pump from a comment or a person or an external stimuli, and you know which ones those are in your life, you're going to practice by just taking a breath, hand on heart, hand on stomach, 3 times. One more. Big breath into the top. Let it all relax and melt away. Now you've pattern interrupted. You can start to shift and at least kind of look before automatically responding. Okay. And you say, maybe well, to each breath, I'm safe, I'm loved, I'm enough, and then respond. And I know it's easy to say on paper, and different to actually put into practice in that physiological, emotional, automatic response. But with time and practice, it does crack. And then if you know a trigger's coming, you can start preparing yourself before and start self-regulating before. And then you navigate it better and again and again and again. And it's just like increasing weightlifting capacity, right? You just keep going until you get stronger and stronger and stronger. And there's no end to it. There's never like a fully actualized, um, what do you call it? Like a Buddha breakthrough or something of some kind, right? It's continuous until you die, which is great. And then I hope that when it is time to go, I've like mastered it to the point where I'm just like, here I come, Lord. Okay. And then, so the last intelligence, last pillar of intelligence is the body, this gorgeous, fabulous, incredible piece of equipment that we're given to experience the world in. So, how do you know when you're tired, hungry, happy, sad, hot, cold, etc.? Cues from your body, right? Your body's your modality for reacting to and with the external environment based on physiology to keep you alive. So I'm cold, put on a coat. I'm hot, drink water. I'm hungry, eat something, etc. Tired, have a nap. Now that we're living in what appears to me, and I don't know, the spaces and places and people I'm hanging out with, is a more conscious and spiritual era, why not use that information to navigate yourself from a higher perspective? Learn how to better support yourself and to regulate your nervous system. Because in most cases, the dangers of predators that the lizard brain is trying to protect you against are not there. There's not a lion coming to eat you. There's not a wildfire threatening your family. There's not a rock slide, coming right now. And instead, what we've done is we've made up stories from past experiences that even though we've overcome, our body has held on to as the new predator. Not safe, not okay, can't do it. Because it needs to find something now that there isn't like a prey predator relationship, but the physiology is still there, which is why consciousness and spirituality need to rise now and overcome the flesh. Okay. And so we want to be smarter than our lizard brain and take charge with our spiritual intelligence. And if you want that everyday dream life, you have to take action while helping your nervous system feel safe in your body to do it. Otherwise, you won't do it. And if you dawdle in how, you're even less likely to take action. So the how is really building up your capacity, your emotional and body relationship to feel safe in order to do something unknown. And so, one small step for that is to do something uncomfortable, something that makes you a little bit sweaty, that won't kill you, and create evidence for yourself, for your nervous system, for your body that you're not going to die. Give a presentation. Go live, talk to the clerk at the store a little bit more, practice eye contact a little bit differently. There's micro shifts that you can build off of and do more of to be seen, but not to be seen to get anything, to be seen to feel safe that I am a living person and I am here and it's safe for me to engage and to talk and to have opinions and to have messages to say, right? You're putting yourself out there and you get to control the placebo environment, but you want to activate your physiological system a little bit to prove that it's safe. Oh, like yesterday, I gave an introduction to one of the speakers, and I don't mind being in front of the room anymore, but I still get my blood pumping, I still get sweaty, and I did kind of keep my head down and talk into the mic. Right? So it's like, okay, but that's fine, but I didn't die, and it was fun, and I was funny and charming as usual. Anyway, so no big deal. I'm not judging that performance, but I'm recognizing it's still kind of triggering. I'm just more comfortable with it now, even if I still get sweaty armpits for it. Okay. And this is how, like, I am doing another one this afternoon, and this is how I know I'm gonna be fine. I have to actually I have to read a nomination letter for myself to be reelected. And like I'm a little bit nervous, but the letter is really good. And then I trust myself to just go up there and say what I have to say. I'm comfortable in it. And that took time to build that time and repetition through doing little practices that I've talked about in each of these four pillars. And so this lays the foundation, particularly if you're a babypreneur, if you're just starting out, because the business world will eat you up and spit you out. And so you have to build your tenacity and take care of your foundation if you want to last out there. I'm not talking about pivots in the business industry. I'm talking about self-leadership and being confident, competent, and willing to make decisions to stay in the game and continue to grow something into fairly predictable or sustainable revenues. Because as a business owner, you're going to have to make a lot of decisions. It's the same in the household. You have to feel confident as maybe the matriarch in your home, if you are making the decisions to steward over your family, not second guessing yourself, not shrinking away, but also not being like egomaniac in everything that you're doing. Mother knows best, but it's being comfortable and safe and certain that you're acting with aligned action connected to values while self-regulating in order to bring forth the life that you say you want. Because it's easy to sit there and make a vision board and look at it and want it, but it's a whole other to actually do the straining and sweating and discomfort in creating it, right? Not winning the lottery and then everything's handed to you. You have to do the actual building of the work to get those results. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I love you so much. Which pillar resonates the most for you? Which one do you want to dive more into? Just come and message me. I'm here as your coach, as your friend, as your cheerleader, as your problem figure outer as well. All right. Mwah. Have a powerful day.